Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Louis Van Amstel Podcast with me, Louis, and I have three doggies. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Hey, Bo. I guess he's joining us in the background. Enjoy my German short hair pointer. They're really calm right now, but I guess he wants to do a little cameo. Anyway, Ask Louis continued. If you have any questions, please hashtag Ask Louis, put it in the chat box, and my producers will accumulate, because I actually love that you're asking questions, because it makes it easier for me too. So I know that you've asked many questions, but I'm actually seeing the questions for the first time. So let's get right to it. Judith Kramer. And I happen to know Judith Kramer, and she likes to go by Judy. So Judy, you ask, my grandson, who is 5, wants to know how old you have to be to use a 5-pound weight in a LeBlas class. Well, coming from a 5-year-old, not yet any weight training. So let's that be clear. It's best if and this again, before I answer, because I just let that question sink in. I have to be mindful because I'm not a doctor. I am a specialist in movement, yes, and I can give my opinion and my suggestion, but that's all it is. If you really need a full answer, you have to go to your doctor. And then they can check your bone density, they can check the quality of your muscles, and then they can determine, hey, do between X and Y pounds. So normally in a LeBlas class, in the beginning, I would always say do 1 or 2 pounds. Get familiar with all the dances, with the patterns, the way you move from one pattern to the next or one exercise to the next. And as you do it more often, you can feel that you're getting stronger, and no matter how heavy you go, let's say you go to 3 pounds, and you just don't get muscle pain, but you do feel stronger. Then you know, oh, maybe it's time to go to 5 pounds. I started with 8 pounds in 2009, because that's when I started adding weight training to LeBlas. And then now I am between 10, 12, and 15 pounds. So I have to be very intuitive on, is today the day that I'm in such shape mentally that I can push 15 pounds. Now 15 pounds doesn't sound very heavy, but if you do that for 4 songs, 3.5 minutes on average, that's about 14 minutes of weight training. And you don't put them down, maybe in between songs, very quickly. So long story short, Judy, tell your grandson that right now, if he wants to take a water bottle and play with that, you're good and safe. But especially with kids, you want to be mindful that their bones are still very fragile. They are still growing. And especially if you have grandchildren that might have just gone through a growth spurt. That means those muscles and bones are actually weak. So first they grow, and now they have to strengthen. And then they grow again and strengthen. And a kid doesn't know when that all is happening, so therefore you want to be really careful. And I would say, what would I suggest? Probably the age of 8, 9, I would start playing with 1 or 2 pound weights and then see how the person does. But if you want to be completely 100% safe, go and see the doctor and ask the doctor. You always want to have the doctor behind you so you are safe. It's better to be safe than sorry. Judy, I hope this satisfies your question. Okay, Janet Brown. Would you do another season of Dancing with the Stars? Heck yes. And if so, who would be your dream partner? Well, heck yes. I love doing the show. And of course, it's a great paycheck. Not going to lie about that. But what I love about Dancing with the Stars, and the show knows it too, the producers, that I love to have a partner that has never danced before. Because I believe that is the motto of the show. That's the mission of the show. Having someone, it's a challenge for me. And I am, who am I kidding if I say I'm not competitive? I am extremely competitive, but I'm not competing anymore. So where do I put that energy? Well, give me a challenge. And many times I have had challenges of people that have never danced before. I loved my season with Paula Deen. Oh my gosh. And thinking of Paula Deen, as I was putting on the shirt and rolling it up 2 times, that was actually a suggestion by Paul. He said, hey Louis, if you ask me, what do I find sexy in a man when he wears a button up? Roll it up 2 times, mid-arm. Ooh, that's sexy. And I thought, okay, I can do that. So thank you, Paula, for that suggestion. Anyway, back to, would I do Dance with the Stars? Yes, and I'd love to have people that have never danced before. Or have, because Niecy Nash, season 10, she was a ballerina, and then her teacher, how dare that teacher say that? I have a thing with teachers. You're too fat to be a ballerina, and you tell this to a 5-6-year-old girl? Oh my gosh, where is your integrity? Are you kidding me? So when she shared that with me, my competitive nature came out, and oh my gosh, did she do so well on the show. And she even said it in a package in one of the videos. This season 10 for her was a dream deferred. It was always a dream of her to want to be a dancer well, and then that got crushed by that ballet teacher. And then she did wonderfully. So that's what I love, when people have a story why they want to do Dance with the Stars, and preferably for me, someone with no dance experience. So who would that be? I've said it many times before in the past 15 years when this question has been asked. I would love to have Lindsay Lohan as my partner, or Britney Spears, especially after season 9 with Kelly Osbourne. What that show did for her in 3 months' time. Isn't that what you want for anyone in life? To see someone blossom. And this is the power of dance. So I absolutely would love to have either one of them. Now, Britney Spears' sister has been on, I believe, season 32. Didn't go that far, but a little surprising. But then again, I think if people want to see a Spears, it's Britney. So, and I think she's a wonderful person, was taken advantage of by a lot of people. So I would love to be there for her as a professional dancer. So there's your answer. Well, let's move on. Okay, Kathy. Oh, your last name, Thorsteinsen. I've heard Thorsten, German, and Steinsen, but not Thorsteinsen. Interesting. Is that Scandinavian? You ask me, will you... Wait, that's already... Oh no, sorry. There's a lot of questions here. Okay, Kathy is asking, who stays home with your sons when you are working away from home? My mother, their grandma, Oma, has been such a help in the last few years. She's back in Europe right now. But luckily, my boys are old enough, and I can't believe that the thought is going through my head, to test it out, how they would be doing if I would allow them to stay home alone and take care of the dogs. Of course, I'm not going to announce this to the world because we have to worry about safety. But I have neighbors, my oldest son's best friend's parents. We have such a great relationship with them. Their boys stay with me. My oldest stays with them. So that's all taken care of. And that is yet another reason why I love Utah. It's the friendliest state for kids. That's why my ex and I, we moved here from West Hollywood, California to raise our kids here. And that was kind of a whole thing during Halloween. Where is the safest Halloween? It's also the most fun here because Utah goes crazy with all the holidays, but particularly Halloween and trick-or-treating. The safest state, Utah. So if you want to come and have a fun Halloween with us, trick-or-treating, and some hot cocoa, I add some Baileys in there, and don't judge me. I put some Baileys in there just to keep me warm. But we're having, it's fun, I must say, even as a parent. Trick-or-treating, Halloweening here is fun. So yeah, I have a great support system here that I can still travel for LeBlas Fitness, but also for Dancing with the Stars. If I were to make it next season, which I'll find out end of August, we'll make a plan and we'll make it work. Then, Kathy, okay, I guess you have two questions. How do you stay so focused? Well, that's a loaded question. If you know my past, or when you know my past, which I've talked about in many of the podcasts, is that I was diagnosed with what, at that point in time, I think it was late 70s. I was 7 or 8 years old. ADD, ADHD, all these so-called disorders. I was diagnosed with one of them. And it took 4 sports. And I had a conversation with my mom because I said I had no medication. I did have some medication, but it was more to deal with my nightmares. So I guess when you have too much energy, it comes out through the night. Okay. Hey, Bo. Sorry, I'm not going to cut it out. This is just life. Bo, hey, come back. My little guard here. Anyway, so what happened then? I couldn't focus. I had a hard time at school doing homework. So I found different ways. So when I did my homework, I would play music. And when it was actually pretty loud, somehow I could find that, call it the eye of the hurricane. Outside is that hurricane, but inside is that silence. This is how I would explain ADD or ADHD, that when there is so much noise going around, people like me can actually focus better. If it's quiet, I get distracted so quickly. I hear every little thing and I get distracted. If it's loud, I can focus. So luckily, here's the thing, when you dance and there's loud music playing and the audience is roaring, it helps me focus better. So if you don't have that ADHD or ADD, whatever you call it, DDDDD, when you don't have it, you get distracted. But if you are like me, it almost helps you hone in on the why you're doing what you're doing. So besides that, I did tennis, skiing, swimming, dancing. For a few months I did soccer. I should love it because it's the number 1 sport in Holland, besides ice skating. But no, not for me. So 4 sports. It took to take my nightmares away. I didn't need the medication anymore. I also peed my bed. I stopped peeing my bed because I was so active. So how do I stay focused now later in life? Because I learned young in life that activity is the best medication for anyone with ADHD or ADD. Activity. And then also, of course, it was all in hindsight a little bit, but because I was swimming and dancing, these are 2 sports that you use your whole body the entire time. I don't know if you knew that, but swimming, when you're in the pool, in the water, it's 360. If you're not doing anything, you go to the bottom. And then you have different styles. You have the breaststroke, the butterfly, the backstroke, freestyle. So there's diversity there. There's creativity on how do you turn. So I did all that, plus dancing. So there's the emotional outlet. So having all that, it helps me focus right now. And also, and I say anyone with ADD and ADHD, we are great multitaskers because we have to put our energy in different arenas or different parts because we have too much of it. So when everyone gets tired, we just got started. So this is a message for anyone that has been diagnosed with it. It's not a disease. It's not a curse. It's a blessing. The only time, in my opinion, that it's a curse, if you sit on the couch and you don't do anything with it. So, parents, if you have children that are diagnosed, get them hobbies. Hobbies that are physical, that are creative. They need creative outlets because we're not understood always. So if you have creative outlets, they don't have to talk about it. They can just put it in their artistic work. That was another beautiful thing being a dancer. I didn't have to talk about my anxiety. I just put it in the dancing and there it happens. Non-verbally is as powerful as the verbal words spoken. So thank you for asking that question, Kathy, because I could actually advocate for people with ADHD and ADD, and that it's actually more of a blessing than a curse. You might not always feel it in the moment, but later in life, it will serve you well. It did for me. Okay, let's do one more question because we're already at 18 minutes. Where does time go? Connie House. Will you ever dance again on Dancing with the Stars? Miss you. And your tail. Well, the tail I've had, my ponytail, I've had 3 times in my lifetime. I had my hair up to here and I loved it loose. I didn't like it in a ponytail. And when I competed, we had to put it in a ponytail. Now the ponytail is not coming back. I answered the question earlier already that yes, I would come back on Dancing with the Stars. I love doing the show, and the producers know that I love doing the show. It's in their hands, and besides the fact that there might be a lot of age difference and they want younger, and more younger professional dancers, but also if the celebrities are tall, and I'm only 5'8", so if the celebrities are 5'5", they're already too tall for me, really, because they go in 3-inch heels. So they want it makes sense. The female partner in our industry is always shorter, and that is part to do because when the guys are in hold underneath, the ladies are on top. So it's better if the lady is slightly shorter than the guy. But of course, would I say yes if they have a taller celebrity? I would say I can motorboat. No, I'm kidding. That was such a bad joke. Anyway, TMI on that one. Thank you guys so much for joining. And again, if you have any questions for me, #Ask Louis in the chat box so my producers can accumulate them, and I'll keep answering your questions. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day.